and welcome to our show, Geeks Wired Podcast, where we talk about video games, movies, TV, comic books, technology, and TLDR, the Internet of Things. This week we have Anthony.
Hi.
And Mike is back.
Yay!
And me, a Bill.
You a Bill?
I'm a Bill.
I'm a Bill. I'm a Bill.
Exactly. And
how do you become a Bill?
just become greatness.
Become greatness, huh?
Yes. And you can contact us by emailing us at geekswire@gmail.com. Give us a phone call or a text at 801-896-4335. You also can help support us by going to patreon.com/geeksarewired. And you get access to our Discord, which you can chat with us. You can get Reddit Flair. And you also get access to the podcast early.
Yay,
Earliness, yes. So that we're going to... this is great. I'm just going to start with this one.
What?
So,
I can't see.
there was So, somebody decided to be really, really funny and get a license plate, personalized license plate in California with the words null. And for his wife, guess what he set up for his wife?
What's that?
Void.
Void? Nice.
Void.
Yes.
Nice.
There's a catch on that, though. So when things are not marked specifically in software, what's the issue that you run into?
Well, if they don't sanitize their inputs, this license plate number, when it gets pushed through a bunch of stuff, you might have a null pointer.
Yes.
Or void, I guess, depending on the language, could even do that too.
But also, when you are missing information, what is usually put in?
NA?
I don't know.
Null.
I'm guessing no.
Oh,
yes.
License
okay.
plate
That's
is,
what you meant. Okay.
Yes. So he's literally getting, for everything that's been unidentified with the license plate, he is literally getting tickets.
Nice.
For like the last 20 years.
So his license has been suspended like 400 times now?
Well, no, he's thinking that he's probably not going to be able to renew his license without having to pay all these fines that are not his.
Well, it can be suspended in California for points. If you get too many tickets, you get too many points on your record, and you can lose your license.
Well, he apparently still has his license, at least currently. But still.
So is he like taking this to the court or what?
Yeah, he's having to.
Okay.
He's fighting it, but he's still thinking it's gonna. And then, so things that if an officer wrote down a license plate number or didn't get the license plate number and they forgot to fill it in, it's his now.
Well, I'm sure they can easily find out like that there's a problem here because there's probably tickets in there that were done at the same time in completely different areas.
He is literally getting tickets before he got this license plate.
Nice.
So they really should have figured that.
Yeah, you think so, but if that state doesn't doesn't do anything about this, a lawyer would have fun with this.
I'm a little bit surprised California allowed the 4-letter license plate.
Why?
I've never seen one in California. They're always 7.
Oh. When people make their own.
Yeah.
Huh.
I've seen a ton of different license plates, like custom license plates, and half the time the joke is, does it mean this or that? Like, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I've never seen a 4-letter or a short one. Well,
he got it twice.
I was saying, obviously they exist. I just didn't know about it.
Yeah. So he broke the DMV. And I was thinking like, oh, that'd be funny. And then I'm like, I should think about that. And then as soon as I started hearing about this or reading a little more, I was like, never doing that.
So what I was thinking was in England or in the UK, the word for 0, I think, is null. Like they don't say 0, they say null or nil.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember which one.
I think I've heard nil from some places, but yeah. And well, that's even the other thing is like you were saying the 4-letter thing. There's still the thing of how did they even let him get null? Like why did they approve it?
Because the person at the DMV probably had no idea what they were doing.
they didn't realize
And
that
in all
tech and-
actuality, the word null is different than the actual null.
yes.
So this means that in their database somewhere, they were storing null as the word null.
Yes.
And same with void.
Well, I don't think his wife's getting any, but it's all him.
Okay, well, still, null.
Yeah.
Like, they're storing it as the word null, not as, like, just empty.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Or
is
not.
another problem
Yeah.
altogether.
Oh, yeah, they have all sorts of fun with this.
Kind of makes me want to go get the license plate NA.
I don't know.
Do you really want tickets? I don't even want to deal with any of these now.
I don't know. I'm just curious. See what happens.
Someone related to this, and I'm gonna have to try to find the story now, but in another country they put across a SQL statement, just like they taped it over or just on top of their license plate, so you could still see the license plate.
Yeah.
But if a camera were to take a picture of it, it'd grab the SQL statement first probably, and it got them in a lot of trouble because I think it actually worked.
Ooh. That would. Oh, you mean the SQL statement of null?
No, it was just they had a SQL statement. Like you ever heard of the Bobby Drop Tables comic?
Oh.
That kind of thing. They didn't sanitize the inputs.
Yes, I get it.
So I think I'm pretty sure they got in trouble because it actually.
So it ends up reading it in, and then when it goes into the database, the database actually, or SQL ends up reading it as a command.
Yep.
It's like, we have to explain this one because I'm sure there's people going like, why? Yes. Maybe you say put in some goofy string as like drop table or something like that. It actually like deletes the entire table, the SQL table, which is lots of. So if you do stuff like that, it goes in as a text, but the SQL ends up reading it.
Yeah.
And then follows the command.
I think the XKCD is called Exploits of a Mom, and I'll just read the article or the comic as it is. So it's like, hey, this is your son's school. We're having some computer trouble. Oh dear, did he break something? The person on the phone's like, in a way. Did you really name your son Robert something, parenthesis, semicolon, drop, table, students? Oh yeah, little Bobby Tables we call him. Well, we've lost this year's students' records. I hope you're happy, and I hope you've learned to sanitize your database inputs. That's it.
Wow.
I just like this comic.
Yep.
Only the geekiest of your listeners will understand that.
Well, we'll just have to put it in the show notes.
Yep, it's in the show notes.
Very barely, vaguely understand almost enough about SQL to get that joke.
Well, that's okay. So we're not even doing it. This is explain XKCD. So this is the link will actually have much explanation more than. But as I said, the fact
this is a thing.
Yeah, it's a totally a thing. So that is. So you'll see how it is, but that's why I was explaining, like, based on the string and how it's sanitized and everything, or how they do everything right. If they do it right, there shouldn't be any problems. A lot of people don't do it right.
For me, at least, I've always used null as like an output. It's like high or low. Use a null output. But I'm so barely toe dipped into the well of.
Don't worry, you will regret it later.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Arduino is my biggest accomplishment. Like, stealing somebody else's code and using it. That's it. Like, that's all I've got. So, setting a value is about the only output or anything that I change.
Okay, I'm going to put the other thing I was talking about on the...
You found more?
On the cellos.
There's more?
No, it's what he'd found. He's putting stuff in the show notes, so I can link stuff in the show notes.
I'm trying to, at least. There we go.
As soon as he figures out how to do it.
Well, they changed how to do this on iOS 13. It's kind of weird looking.
That's what you get.
Yeah.
Stupid Apple.
You're just jealous.
I am not. I don't have the money nor the inclination to learn Apple or anything to do with iOS or anything Mac. Like,
okay, it should be on the board. I put it on.
If it comes from Mac, I Yeah, no.
Well, good thing it comes from Apple then.
Well, Apple, excuse me. Excuse me for being old. Apple.
They've always been
Macintosh?
Apple computers.
Or Macintosh. I guess they made the Macintosh. Yeah, there have always been Apple.
Mm-hmm.
Have they always been Apple?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
And Macintosh was just the line of computers they made?
correct.
Oh, well, see, I know even less about computers than I thought I did. Ha ha!
There you go.
And the reason why it's called a Macintosh Apple.
Is because that's an actual Apple?
Yep. You knew that one.
Are they going to come out with the Granny Smith line of computers?
Probably not.
No, they're currently working on their OSs by naming them national parks.
You know what would be funny is if they did come out with a Granny Smith that's like the, what's that cell phone that has the really big numbers and you can like just punch 0 and it'll go to an operator and the operator will literally dial the phone for you. It's for old people. Like if
You mean like when the
Didn't
phone
they call
system
that
was...
the June bug or something.
yeah,
Oh,
the jitterbug. That
Oh,
was
see,
it.
I was thinking like that's what it was when the phone system first came into existence. Dial the operator, they
Right.
connect you.
But you had to know the address. Like it was harder then.
Now you just
Oh.
tell them the phone number.
Yeah, the jitterbug, literally, you can, like, it's for old people. It's meant for people that cannot even use a regular flip phone, cell phone. And they can literally pick it up, punch 0, and it will call the operator, and the operator can go into their phone book, and they can be like, I need to call my son Jimmy, and they can go into their phone book, dial Jimmy for them, and connect them through. So they don't even have to use the call button. But it is unbelievably expensive, just like everything Apple does. So if they came out with the Granny Smith, they could totally overcharge for that service.
Let's see, that's you're saying they're extremely expensive. Their iPad, their tablets are the best in the market,
Their
especially
phones
for the
also
price.
aren't particularly overpriced either if you compare it to a Samsung.
Oh, goodness, yes.
So, well, if you compare the capability of it, though.
It's still the same.
Yeah.
Like, just because it has less RAM doesn't mean anything. Android just needs more RAM.
And that's the thing that runs into with Android being that it's like with Windows. Why does Windows have so many possible issues? Because you have anybody can put a Windows on any type of computer and they have to deal with each other. Apple, they only make certain computers and certain OSs that work one-in-one perfectly together.
Yeah. And I guess, I mean, it makes sense that that's the reason that people come out with Apple apps first. Because there's so many phones that use the exact same iOS that you can release it into this market and there's already more phones for it. Versus like if you release an Android, you have to release for this certain version kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the time they shoot for like version 4, which is really old. at this point.
Yeah.
For
For
iOS?
Android. No,
for
for
Apple,
Android.
for Android,
Oh.
version 4 and
For
up.
Apple, I think you have to shoot for at least version 10, I think now.
Is that KitKat?
I think so, yeah.
See, I've been seeing a lot of 7 or 8 lately,
Yeah.
which is, I think, Oreo.
Maybe they finally upped the minimum that they let you develop for now.
I don't think Android ever imposed a minimum. It was just recommended.
I think they're starting to now just because there's a lot of like the security stuff they put into the new Android software, you can get around by making it work with an older version. Because it didn't require it then.
And Google doesn't want to support older phones anymore.
Well, no, Google's policy has always been 2 years for regular OS updates and 4 years for security updates. They have never changed from that. They've always, that is what Google will do.
Your main issue, though, is the manufacturers. And then the
Yes.
carrier, if the carrier also chooses to push out the updates. Verizon's really bad at holding updates.
A lot of companies are, both phone and service
That's 'cause
providers.
Verizon has to keep all their bloatware in it. Like Verizon has so much. So does
Well,
AT&T.
no, they all do. They have their stuff. And you still get bloatware on certain versions of phones, even if they're unlocked.
T-Mobile's pretty good. I hate T-Mobile as a service. I despise them,
Oh,
but they are really good about not putting a bunch of crap on your phone. At least compared to Verizon and AT&T and all those guys.
they're just as bad as the rest. Really, they're all just bad. And like I said, you could even get an unlocked phone. You're still gonna get bloatware installed on it. Come on, you can't even. And, honestly, Apple is just as bad. They have their Apple version of stuff, and Google, even if you get the, Pixel, you will have forced Google items that you can't
To
uninstall.
be fair, on Apple, you can remove most of them.
You can on Google too, or you
depending
can
on
at
the
least,
version.
yeah, and also on both the very official Pixel and iPhone, you can, if you can't uninstall it, you can at least turn it off.
Mhm.
Some of the bloatware, you're stuck with it
Mhm.
through certain phones and companies.
Meh.
So what was the greatest movie of the 90s that predicted the future that we haven't hit yet?
What's the one where the post-apocalypse and they're all driving the cars and
No, even better. About the one.
the one oh
Jurassic
Matrix? No, the
The
Matrix.
Matrix.
The Matrix?
The Matrix.
Well, I don't see anything about the Matrix on here.
Here, let me move this. Oh, no, that's the wrong
Oh.
one. Let me move this one right over here for you. Oh, look. They're making a sequel.
Oh,
Another
Lord.
one? Aren't they on like the fifth or sixth?
This would be the fourth
now?
one.
Well, okay, depending on whether you count the cartoon or not.
I didn't know they had a cartoon.
Yeah, they have the
it
Animatrix. It's a bunch of mini stories.
It sounds like
okay.
Animaniacs for some reason. That's the
That's probably
first
what they
thing
were
that
shooting
popped in my
for.
head.
Well, it's
Like, is it just a bunch of side stories?
yeah, it's a bunch of side stories.
I might actually enjoy that then.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they're following Disney. They're just going to re-release the live animation, but instead of going live animation, they're going to go like true animation. So they're really releasing the movies all hand-drawn.
There you go. Well, I was thinking Keanu Reeves. He just finished up with John Wick 3. He's working on Bill and Ted's. Why not? Let's just go on The Matrix as well. And
Are they really making another Bill and Ted's?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you totally. Usually people call me Bill, but that's okay.
I'm done.
Wow.
Totally went there. Yes.
That reminds me of another really bad joke. I heard the other day you sound like an owl. Somebody said you sound like an owl.
Cool.
Yeah, that's,
I know
that's
you're
why.
going with this.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not giving you the satisfaction.
It's because I'm smart.
There's no details on this movie, Bill.
I think Bill's lying. He's making it up.
You're right. I wrote the entire article up on The Verge.
Bill
Come on.
he stole the Verge heading and just put the article in, and then he's posting it online everywhere. Don't believe it. The movie's not really coming out.
Well, it could just be like 10 years in the making, like Bill and Ted's 3.
This is more than 10 years in the making. It was the last one was released in 2003.
Well, if you can go, no, I'm talking about since they're going to talk about doing it, because Bill and Ted's been like what 30 years.
Jeez.
It's at least 30 years. I think it was in the 80s.
It was in the 80s, at least
Well,
late.
That's fun.
So we're almost to 40 years on that movie.
I hope it'll be better than that. Like, the first Matrix was good. The second one was also, I remember it being good. The third one, it was good.
But
The
don't-
ending was just weird.
So the Wachowskis are really good at long stories and telling these elaborate stories, but they need lots and lots of time to build up and to fill in. It's like Sense8. Sense8 had a really good build up. They had this giant story prepped. They were expecting 10 years. They got told they had to wrap it up in 3, and you can tell.
Mhm.
And that's what happened with The Matrix, in my opinion, is that they should
Could be.
have made this a 10-movie thing. That's why the third one it felt rushed.
Nobody should ever make a 10 movie.
It wasn't
anything.
even that it felt rushed. It was
So, what do you call it? Just came out and hit number 1 not too long ago. Fast and Furious.
Are they still making those movies?
They are.
Yeah, they just released a new one.
I thought that was like the Ashley and what's her name, the sisters, the twins that were making those like side I'm a Spy Kid movies that like were straight to DVD or VHS or something
Spy
like that.
Kids?
No, the Olsen twins. For a long time, they were making like straight to VHS movies. Yes, this is before DVD even. They were straight to VHS movies. And
DVD exists.
nobody knew that they were making it, but they made like 10,000 of these freaking movies.
Anyways,
Yeah, no clue.
just like since we're on the topic of the Matrix, just the third one, and I'm gonna spoil this because
It's an old movie.
what is, yeah, it's been more than 10 years.
2003.
If you haven't seen it yet,
Just skip forward on your player.
Just skip forward or just go watch them and then resume here. All right, I've given enough time for those people to leave. So the third one,
Skip past us, actually.
Huh?
They skipped past us.
Oh,
Neo
probably.
dies.
Either they skip past us or they're gone. Whatever, it doesn't matter. So the third one is just dumb because they get out of the Matrix in like the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
Anyways,
yeah, like the Awakening.
Well, Neo wakes
and
up.
then there's a whole bunch
Yeah.
of stuff where they go back in it, come back out of it, go back in it, blah 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 blah. And then finally in the third one, they get to the point where they find the city, and then he gets blinded because he gets like electrocuted in the eyes, and so it like sears his eyes out, which that's believable enough. The part that's not though is he's able to see the machines and all the electricity without being hooked up to anything.
Because he's the one.
I don't care if you're the one.
Because he's still in the Matrix is the implication.
No, he's outside the Matrix and
No,
he can see the machines.
even outside the Matrix,
Oh.
he's still in the Matrix. Though.
Because he's half human, half Matrix.
No, because it's another civilization for those who couldn't survive in
Oh,
the Matrix.
conspiracy theory right here.
Yep,
Even-
I'm
even
putting my
then-
tinfoil hat on.
Even then, I still don't think that's believable.
They never left.
Just unless they had some kind of like implant that I don't know. If they had taken time to explain it, sure, I might be okay.
Implantception.
But it just happened.
It's like Inception. Like
I don't.
No, implantception.
why
I-
implantception?
Because they were
love
implanted
the
with
Matrix
implant.
movies, but that part's always bothered me.
But the implant was just the tracker. Like I don't know. I'm confused with the implant thing.
They
Don't
didn't
worry.
say it
There's
was-
not an implant inside the implant.
They only said it was an implant.
They'll explain it in the Matrix number 8.
Yeah. It'll be like the crystal skull.
No, Matrix number 8 is going to be quite better. No, Crystal Skull was Matrix number 3.
So
Oh, okay.
since you brought up Fast and Furious earlier, I gotta wonder: have you seen? When did you stop watching them?
When I was 12.
And
Which was the last one?
at what point along that process did you be like, wow, they're still making these? What number?
Actually, so the last one that I watched was when Dom. I don't know if I should say spoilers. Like, it's so old.
We're just going to go spoilers. Just
Okay.
deal with the people.
So he takes the Dodge Charger and he runs from what's his name, blonde guy.
Paul Walker?
I saw, Paul Walker. That was, I think, the last one I saw. It was like the third or fourth one. It was the original movie series. I think I did see part of the next one. It was either the next one or like 2 or 3 later. It was before they got into the boats and all that stuff.
Was Fast 5 the one with the really long airport runway?
Yeah, I never saw that one.
Was that the one the runway is actually like... Or was that 6? I'm
Anyways,
starting to not know
the
which one it was.
where they had a runway, like they were doing a runway chase scene, and it was literally the longest runway ever. Like,
So
not
I
believable
am
at all.
interested in Hobbs and Shaw. Out
I
of the
am
entire
too.
idea of, I feel like the only reason it has Fast and Furious on it is to sell it. And I've already realized it's forget physics. That's literally what the F stands for now.
I kind of wish they'd make another Tokyo Drift. Like, I liked Tokyo Drift. I know it had nothing to do with the Fast and Furious movies at all.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Neither does Shaw and Hobbs.
Okay, but still, I really liked Tokyo Drift.
I did.
Just,
no,
it was way different. I was
is that
annoyed
the one where he does the drift race down the mountain?
Yeah.
In like,
Yeah, it takes place in Tokyo. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, it was that
I
one.
think I did see that one.
I hated it at first because I was like, this has nothing to do with Fast and Furious. But then I like, it's a pretty good movie. And the physics were still believable.
I don't remember which one was the last one.
Not
It was
necessarily real.
It was
but
either
believable.
5 or 6. Was my last one. No, not 5 or 6. 4 or 5. I don't think I saw Fast and Furious 6, and I definitely didn't see Furious 7 or The Fate of the Furious.
The Fate of the Forest.
But I'm interested in Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Actually, when I first saw it come out, I thought it was...
What is Hobbs and Shaw? You keep saying that.
That's the name of the current one that just came out.
Oh.
Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. It's Vin Diesel, not Vin Diesel. No, it's The Rock and Jason Statham.
They weren't even in the original. How did they?
They're in
What?
it. Yeah. So
I have an answer for my previous
The
question.
Rock is Triple X. Like that was his series.
no, Triple X
Fast
is
and-
Vin Diesel.
Or Vin Diesel. Sorry, the
Fast
Vin
and
Diesel.
Furious 6 was the one with the really long runway. I will bow out now. I am done.
All right.
Vin Diesel has his own action series called Triple X.
Vin Diesel started with Fast and Furious.
No. The Triple X was totally separate. Like, they weren't even...
Okay, Vin Diesel was in the first Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
No, The Rock and Jason Statham. Talking about those two right now. That's who these people are. When I said Vin Diesel, I didn't mean to say Vin Diesel. Yeah, from my understanding, he's not in this movie. I don't know. Haven't seen it yet, but I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
I got him mixed up with The Rock.
Yes. That's why I was like, you are not getting these two
Is it
people.
out already?
Yeah, it's out. It's already like hit number 1 for the first week. It actually was the one that knocked The Lion King out of first place.
Yay.
And currently, I think this is Warner Brothers is who makes these. I think it is. They currently own a couple of the top movies in theaters right now. Disney does own quite a few because Lion King did do extremely well for Disney. But Fast and Furious and something else that just got released is in the top 2 places right now.
I have no idea what it is.
I gotta remember what came out recently. And maybe if I cheat and load up the internet and tell me to. Let's see.
Just
this
ask
weekend.
Mrs. A.
The weekend.
Good boys.
What? Oh yeah, The Good Boys. I forgot about that.
I don't know. I don't remember what that one is about.
It's about some junior high kids or whatever. They're trying to get invited to a kissing party or whatever, or maybe like early. It's rated R. It's
I don't
doing
think I've seen this
great
preview.
for a rated R movie. It's hilarious.
It sounds like what's the
I haven't
the
seen
high
this.
school
Okay.
version?
Oh, Universal. It's not
Oh,
Warner Brothers. It's Universal. So Universal owns Good Boys and Fast and Furious.
what's the movie with McLovin?
I forgot.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it sounds like that movie just moved to junior high.
Yes. But it's goofy. It looks stupid. But it's rated R, very much for reasons. Lots of and if they're not junior high, they're at least early high, like freshmen in high school.
So Stephen Colbert did an interview with the 3 kids,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really kind of cheeky. But that was the first time I had heard of the movie, even. And I'm wondering, how do you find out about all these TV shows? Movies are easy. Like, you can go see what movies are playing and look at them. But how do you find out about all the TV shows and all the stuff that you watch?
TV time.
Yeah, TV time is one thing. And also Netflix actually just started a new feature on the TV version where you can subscribe to, it'll show you what shows are coming out. And actually they've had it on the phone version for tablets for a while. What happens is you go like, oh, what's coming out? Hey, remind me of these shows coming out. And then because you've subscribed to by having it being reminded, it's dropped into your list. So you can always remove it later, which I've been kind of so-so about because there's shows that I'm like, I want off of my list. Like, I want to make my list of shows and movies that I have on my on Netflix smaller. But there's a few I'm afraid to remove because I definitely want to know if they ever come back.
Shouldn't TV time do that for you?
I think TV time does. So I might be removing them and just dealing with TV time.
So I have a quick question. Would you be super mad if Netflix did, like, the movies have the previews of, like, upcoming movies?
Yeah.
Would you be mad if Netflix did that for TV shows?
So
As long as they did it, like, only at the beginning of a run of series or something?
So
If it was opt-outable, I'd be okay
yeah,
with it.
I guess maybe that. And I think they did, and it pissed everyone off. And HBO, when I was subscribing to them, they did too. It was where it was released weekly. It wasn't so terrible.
Yeah, if they didn't do it at the beginning of, like, every episode,
show, yeah.
it'd be fine. If they did it once per show or once per...
Like if they did it once on every single episode, and you were watching like Love, Death, and Robots,
Yeah.
that'd get annoying fast because they're like
yes.
6 minutes long.
Yes, they would. But yeah, no, Netflix got nailed for that already and yelled at because they were doing that type of stuff. And it was actually very difficult to get out of. And even with HBO, it was there was times I'm like, I don't care. And also Netflix has also been yelled at recently because they canceled a bunch of shows that were theirs because Netflix is no longer doing this. We will approve anything and as long as the creators want to keep creating, we will just let you be on the thing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're starting to cancel shows now.
Huh.
And what it is they have to meet 2 criteria. They have to bring in new customers and, I guess 3 criteria. So they bring in new customers, they have to keep current customers, and they have to be something that customers will go to when they're done watching their big shows. So like having Friends, you watch Friends, I've watched Stranger Things. Now we will go over to Friends. And I just let Friends run because it's years of just sitting there while I'm going to just let it play.
It's kind of like Seinfeld where nothing really happens.
But Seinfeld's the next one too that actually is getting ready to get argued with.
But Netflix is losing Friends.
Yes, they are. And Seinfeld is in an interesting spot because apparently it was sold and resold, and their broadcast or their online rights were technically sold to one group and maybe to another one. So who technically owns Seinfeld for digital viewing?
It was on twice? Or it was...
It's like people sold it going like, oh, this is a thing. We can make a quick buck. And there's still some questions about who owns which parts. Yeah, and also
like they
who
sold individual episodes.
Well, and also ways to broadcast. Like some people can make money off of the DVD, Blu-rays. Some people can only make money off of the digital broadcast. Some people can only make money off of
the first showing.
Yeah, the first showing,
like
or over the air broadcast.
I think we should go back to the original copyright laws where you could have it for like 5 years and then you're done. It becomes
Disney won't
domain.
let that happen.
I know they won't, but
they're the ones that got it pushed out to 75.
Yeah,
we should. Like they've screwed everything up.
But it's also they still get to make some. Our companies have changed over the years too. Like, yes, Disney would in places like that would have to really work hard to start changing out a bunch of their stuff. But on the other side, they get to make a lot of reusable stuff, and it gets people to try to make new ideas from old things. Because even Disney, come on, they what, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Come on, that's something that's so old. Yeah, just don't use the characters' names. Don't use the dwarves' names.
They still own the images.
Yeah, but they don't own Snow White and the Seven
they don't
Dwarfs.
Own the story.
The story is not Disney's. The story is public domain.
Like they own the story now.
No, they do not.
They own their version of it.
Yes. They
Yeah.
own their version, and they own the name. The dwarves having names of that particular type. The original story is ridiculously old.
Yeah, most of their movies are based off of, at least the older ones, were based off of the Brothers Grimm.
But yeah.
Okay, so that's something else I found out.
I'm getting really confused because this kind of Brothers Grimm is like in like 3 different things in my head now, and I don't remember which is the real one.
So
is it Brothers Grimm?
It is. I don't know about Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, but
no, I mean just like they made a lot of fairy tales, right?
They did, but they also remade a lot. Like
they also did remake a lot.
What was it?
Because they just went around collecting them, didn't they?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
Brothers Grimm remade that one. That's not originally theirs.
So they picked it up from somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't remember if they were the second or the third person. So I'm not even sure if they remade it from the original.
Lion King is basically Shakespeare.
No, I think Lion King's even
older
than that. I don't even know what Lion King actually originates. The only reason I know about Beauty and the Beast is I actually started researching that one, and I read some of the older stories. It was really interesting. Where she's not the only daughter. She has sisters that are kind of, almost
Hamlet,
Cinderella.
Oh. Lion King's based off of Hamlet.
Oh. So you were right, Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
It follows a similar story arc.
Yes, filmmakers have said that the story was inspired by that. It was inspired by Moses from the Bible and William Shakespeare's... was inspired by the lives of Joseph and Moses from the Bible and William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Inspired, not necessarily...
The story.
The story.
Yes.
Inspired by, not stolen from, by Disney.
But still.
Yeah. But that's because if it's stolen from, then they can't own it. Like Snow White.
They, once again, they don't own Snow White. They own Disney's version of Snow White.
Wasn't there 2 versions of the Jungle Book that came out right next to each other, or were going to?
Netflix has the other one. It was, who...
And they backed off just because people were gonna get confused.
Well, there's that, and he wanted it better, and it's called Mowgli,
Yeah.
and it's on Netflix. Actually, it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's actually really good. And
Is
we're concerned Disney's is a almost one-on-one retelling of their cartoon.
Yeah, it is.
I thought Mowgli was Jungle Book.
Mowgli is the character in Jungle Book.
Yeah, I know. But I thought Mowgli was like the live-action version.
It is a live-action version of the Jungle Book, not Disney's live-action version of the Jungle Book.
Oh.
To the internet.
Disney's live-action version of the Jungle Book is
It's
called
The Jungle
The
Book.
Jungle Book.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, that one was good. Mowgli was actually really good, too. But like I said, you can go to Netflix and watch it. I recommend it.
I'm just wondering when they come back out with all the cartoons we used to watch, like Rangers. What was it? Rescue Rangers and what was the one with Baloo?
Tailspin.
Tailspin, yeah.
So that's always a great segue. Let's see where.
Weren't they? I feel like I heard something about Tailspin recently, actually.
I don't know about Tailspin. We could look that one up, or you guys can while I
Oh,
go
are
with
you going
this
to bring
one.
up the DuckTales?
Are they redoing
were-
DuckTales?
Well, they've been releasing DuckTales.
Yeah, they're on like season 3 right now. And actually, I love who
Like the new
who
one.
Scrooge McDuck is. It's David Tennant. But
Oh, He-Man.
He-Man is coming back.
oh, I
anime?
did hear about this.
It's still always in animation.
I mean, but it's gonna be like I thought I heard it was gonna be like an actual. Like,
I know,
anime,
it says-
like an anime style.
The Netflix original anime. I don't know. It's all a cartoon, but it's Kevin Smith is the big person behind this. Mattel is signing off and doing everything they can. And unlike She-Ra on Netflix, which is a start all over, He-Man will be a continuation from the original cartoon.
Okay, this may sound like a really dumb question.
You shut up.
But what? Kevin Smith did Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes.
He did Mallrats. Was it Mallrats? Like, he had some big movies in the 90s.
I didn't watch He-Man.
What has he done since? You're just looking up the
It's,
IMDb.
he did Kevin and Silent Bob, Strike Back. And he is...
I remember didn't he do Dogma?
did Dogma. Dogma is part of the...
Is that his movie, or is he
That's-
just an actor in it, though?
Yes. Just yes.
It's
yes on
both.
that. So what do you want? Do you want actor? Do you want producer? What do you want on this?
No, like, what movies has he made? Like, why is he such a big name producer besides the couple of 80s movies?
Well, he's also a stand-up comedian, and he's the big producer behind Comic Book Man on AMC.
I don't know any
He did.
of these.
Oh,
things that are
Red
on here.
State
I don't know
is crazy. Like, it is not a comedy even remotely. I don't even think he's in it. Actually, I'm pretty sure he's not in it. I don't know now. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it's like extremist craziness.
Is Sundance coming back up?
Silent Bob Get Irish. What?
What are you looking at?
Jay and Silent
Or
Bob
Sundance,
Get
that's when it
Irish.
happens. It doesn't
something
matter.
over
I was
the green.
The swearing, the green. I don't know what that is. That was apparently a little small thing.
I had no idea he had a Jay and Silent Bob movie in
TV.
2013.
TV specials.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're looking at some of the
Well, it says filmography. That's why I assumed that.
Clerks 2.
Well,
I don't know any of these things.
those are like early 90s, though. Or mid 90s.
Clerk, no, you're in the 2000s. I haven't even hit the 90s yet.
Now we're about to hit the 90s.
Here, let's see. Just producer, 37 things.
So when was Dogma and Clerks 2? Is that 2000s?
Okay, Dogma happened before Clerks 2.
Yeah.
By like a decade.
But Clerks, like, that was the big one with...
That was the first one that really started off his stuff.
Yeah.
Clerks, not Clerks 2.
Yeah, I know.
So Clerks was 94. And
Wasn't that the one with Dane Cook that, like, launched his career, too?
You mean Ben Affleck and Matt Damon?
No, I thought Dane Cook was in that. What's the one where he's a waiter?
I don't know.
I must be thinking of something totally different.
Yeah, you've lost me.
I thought it was called Clerks, but...
The clerks, they're clerks in a convenience store. And one of them works at a video stop.
Oh, okay. It's definitely not the one I'm thinking of then.
I'm way out of my element on this. I don't know any of these.
And then he also helped out on some Batman stories, and he's helped. This is Kevin Smith. Is what I'm talking about. So, what else has he done? He's done quite a few fun little things. But actually, I just realized something. Speaking of comic books, we're gonna take a break. Go to Captain Bangles. They're talking about comics that are coming out next week.
Ooh.
And with that, we'll be right back.
This is James from Captain Bangles Comic Cove. Letting you guys know about titles coming out August 28th, 2019. First title I want to mention is Batman Superman Issue 1, written by Joshua Williamson, David Marquez doing the artwork. Now, this is a continuation of everything that's going on with Batman Who Laughs. Up in the sky, in the dark of the night, trust no one, for the secret six walk among us. Spinning out the devastating events of Batman Who Laughs, Superman and Batman are together once more in an all-new monthly series, and are facing terrifying new threat that could strike from anywhere. The Dark Knight and the Man of Steel must journey into the depths of Gotham City to learn which of their fellow heroes has been transformed into the horrifying horsemen of their most dangerous and deranged foe ever. Our heroes will need to fight to survive, but an even more dangerous question lurks in the shadows. Can Superman and Batman even trust each other? Now, if you've been looking online, there have been spoilers coming out about this story already, regarding who has been turned. So if you're feeling adventurous and don't care about spoilers, search them out yourself. I'm not going to tell you now. Also would like to mention Marvel Comics 1000. So this is essentially Marvel's issue 1000. There's all sorts of writers, all sorts of artists coming together and putting together this giant book. It's a $10 tome, to say the least. This is the big one. In celebration of Marvel's 80th anniversary, we have gathered together the greatest array of talent ever to be assembled between the covers of a single comic book. Names from the past, from the present, and the future. Every page is filled with all new work from this cavalcade of comic book luminaries. There's mystery that threads throughout Marvel Universe, one that has its origins in Marvel Comics #1, and which unites a desperate array of heroes and villains throughout the decades. What is the Eternity Mask, and who is responsible for the conspiracy to keep it hidden? And what new player will make their startling debut as these secrets are peeled away, featuring the entirety of the Marvel Universe characters. This is going to be a pretty big story if you're a Marvel fan. Some of the announced artists and writer teams are out there without spoilers, so you can go and take a look to see who's working together on this. Alex Ross.
Is Neil Adams in it?
No. Bob, you interrupted me. But yeah, all the talent to put together this book is huge. And it will be one that will be referenced for a while, it seems like, a brand new character debuting in this book. Also, I would like to mention Marvel Monsters #1 from Colin Bunn and Scott Hepburn. The monsters are coming. Someone is doing terrible things to the Marvel monsters, and only Kid Kaiju can stop it. But that's not all. A murderer's row of artists like Becky Cloonan, Gerardo Zaffino, and others are on hand to provide awesome monster splash pages accompanied by cross selections from superstar artist Superlog. It is the big, bold, beautiful celebration of all things monstrous, and Marvel does not want you to miss this. Some of the Marvel monsters back in the 50s and 60s that debuted, and titles like Tales of Suspense, Strange Tales, like Fin Fang Foom, Groot, and others. It's gonna be a lot of fun, especially if you're a fan of kaiju stuff like Godzilla. Lastly, I want to mention Tommy Gun Wizards from Dark Horse Comics by Christian Ward, who's doing the writing and the artwork. Now, if you're a fan of 30s, 40s gangster films, this will be for you. Elliot Ness and his team of untouchables work overtime, taking on dangerous criminals that hide in the seedy underbelly of 1930s Chicago. Except in this world, Al Capone isn't dealing in alcohol, but in magic. With Lick, a drug that grants magical powers to anyone who digests it, mobsters become wizards, ordinary men become monsters, and darker secrets than Ness can imagine lie at the heart of it all. A new genre-bending comic series from Christian Ward, artist of the acclaimed sci-fi epic Invisible Kingdom. This should be a lot of fun. I'm personally a fan of the 30s crime genre, and with the twist on this should be a blast. Again, all these books I just talked about come out August 28th at your local comic shop. Visit your local comic shop. We're here in Pocatello, Idaho, 348 North 3rd Avenue. Captain Bangles Comico. Find us on Facebook, and if you're listening, be sure that you're following Geeks Are Wired. Thanks, and back to your originally scheduled program.
Oh, man.
All right. So,
That was a good update, right?
yes,
Cool.
great comics come out.
Yes.
Yay, Captain Bagel.
But with comics, Sony and Disney,
With great comics come great responsibility.
yes, Sony and Disney are arguing over Spider-Man.
The Spiderman.
Yes. Apparently, contract negotiations are not working out for everyone. Sony's not liking they feel like the deal has gotten worse and worse. This deal just keeps getting worse.
So,
I mean, they're
it was
dealing
Sony
with
and
Disney,
who?
so that's fair.
Sony and Disney.
Oh yeah, Disney screws everybody over. Did you hear? That's why all their cartoonists put lewd images in all of their cartoons.
Only in the old ones. New ones
Well.
take a little more work to find.
That's because they hide them better. Because Disney knows now.
Like I said, the deal just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah, okay.
So, Sony, without negotiate or not liking the deal, means that Spider-Man, the current with Tom Holland version, may not be in the MCU anymore.
Which is interesting to me, because... Might keep falling
If
down.
you're gonna spoil this for everybody else,
So I know,
like
I was
you
gonna
did
say,
for me, you better let them know.
Spoilers.
Okay,
If
yes.
you haven't seen Endgame or the latest Spider-Man yet,
Then you're a
Homecoming.
loser like me. But go
then
on.
there's-
No.
Like, yeah, if you haven't seen... It's not Homecoming, it's Far From Home, isn't it?
Oh, you're right. It's Far From Home.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Spider-Man Far From Home or Endgame, which if you saw Far From Home and then not Endgame, you kind of got spoiled anyways on that, but yeah, there's spoilers here.
And we're just going to finish up the episode with this.
Yes, so if you want to go to the very end and hear our famous last words, sure, go for it, but otherwise, bye.
Talk to you next week.
Yeah, it's been fun. So it's interesting, though, because in that movie, in Endgame, Tony Stark goes bye-bye. It's like all the rest of the Starks in Game of Thrones. Most of them died.
You got stabbed by a sword or beheaded?
No, not quite.
Did
He
his
didn't get
head
stabbed
get
by a
cut off?
sword.
We'll leave it vague.
Yeah, we'll just
for
leave it
those
with
who
that.
want to stick around, including you.
Something happens to him,
Tony doesn't feel good at the end.
and in Far From Home, the
Cancer like his dad.
Peter Parker gets the ownership of Stark Industries.
Why?
Yes.
I don't understand why Peter Parker though. Like I didn't see Endgame, and I know I'm just like.
Did you see the second Avengers?
Yes.
So him and like whenever and during the snap, they like Tony was really upset that happened to him because he basically considered him his son.
And also, he trusts
He trusts
Peter
him the
Parker
most.
to be. Yeah, he trusts Peter Parker to do a very good job because he's extremely smart, extremely good.
What happened to his wife? I forgot her name.
Pepper Potts?
She's
Yes.
still there.
Yeah, she still exists.
Why doesn't she own it? He already gave the
Here's the
company
thing.
to her.
I think
Eh.
she controls it and she owns it, but he owns all the the technical part of it. Like he has control of the technical part.
All the R&D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so he gets that, and that's a major thing. Like Stark Industries is a major thing of the Avengers. If they split ways, what does that do to the MCU? Do they just write off? I guess they could just write off that movie as not non-canon anymore. But
No, they just make him a silent partner.
Well, they can keep him in the background, I guess.
They just
Yeah, but
reference.
that's the Stark Industries is the fun part though of Avengers. Like that's like one of my favorite parts of the Avengers.
But they can reference to Spider-Man or
they
Peter
can
Parker
reference it,
without
but they-
ever having to bring him in.
And also,
I don't
this is the
know.
other stuff too. Is
Like,
there's
Peter's working on the higher stuff. We're going to talk about this cool
And,
gadget.
like,
well, okay, and then they did talk about the idea because you forget that Disney also did get X-Men back.
okay, so
I know what they'll do.
I care more about Spider-Man than
They will
X-Men right
Princess Leia Spider-Man.
No, they technically couldn't.
They
If
don't
they
wanna-
use him at all, if they use
now.
actually,
It's an
I don't even think
infringement
they can use Spider-Man.
of-
Actually,
yeah, they can't.
they might not even be able to reference him.
Oh.
But if
They call
they,
They'd have to
Petey.
write. I'm pretty sure they'd have to write the latest movie off as non-canon at that.
No,
point.
they just call him Petey.
No.
They'd be like, Petey's
No,
working on this other
no,
stuff.
they,
He's
they
gone.
you forget
Okay. What did we forget?
multiverse.
So, it was already established that universe was the universe, wasn't it?
Wait, are we talking about the one with Porky the Pig as Spider-Man?
No, I'm not talking
no,
about.
no,
I'm
no.
not talking about the Spider-Verse. I'm just talking that there is a multiverse in
There
the
is,
Marvel
but
Cinematic,
this-
or
Yeah.
in not Marvel Cinematic, in the Marvel universe.
That specific universe they were in, though, was the main MCU universe. And Far From Home.
Okay, actually, man, we're just gonna stick with the spoilers. There were no other universes in Spider-Man Far From Home. I'm not talking about Spider-Man because Spider-Man is the ultimate. I'm pretty sure this is ultimate. Or is this Amazing? Is this Amazing Spider-Man?
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll just go Amazing. This is the Amazing Spider-Man because technically this Spider-Man is also different from the previous Spider-Man movies because I think they've made regular, Ultimate, and Amazing. These are 3 different Spider-Man universes, literally in the comic books. Three different Peter Parkers, kind of like how the Spider-Verse they even had different Peter Parkers.
Is that why Peter Parker keeps going back to high school?
Yes, because they keep making a new universe. No, there's all sorts of other things. But the fact that you have X-Men currently existing in the Fox universe, you have MCU existing in Disney universe. What you do is you have a world colliding event of a multiverse colliding event that actually brings the universes together.
Can we talk about the most important universe?
What's that?
It goes with the X-Men one, but it's Deadpool. I mean, come on.
See, you can bring in the Deadpool.
Right?
I don't. If
And-
they bring in Deadpool, I don't know if that would mesh well.
And they can also, you get one F word, and Deadpool knows it's a movie, and he's waiting
Hey.
for it, and Wolverine drops it when he takes on the Hulk.
He made the Christmas special with no F word, with one F word, right? 1 or 2.
Oh man, I still,
Oh, the PG-13
I
one?
still have to
Yes.
give that back to you.
Hey!
Still happens.
But he pulled it off in the Christmas special, and it was still hilarious. It was the same movie that he did before,
Yes.
just with some narration in it. And they took out a lot of the cuss words.
Mm-hmm. It was a Christmas miracle.
Anyways, I even if they do a mesh here, like if Sony still owns the rights, they can't do that.
No, they can just... Spider-Man no longer exists in their universe.
But then, what do they do with Stark Industries? Because he's the owner.
you
of it.
mesh 2 universes together, and you get to rewrite things however you feel like it.
Or you can just write off the movie as non-canon, which they've done before.
You know what you do is you bring in Deadpool, and then Spider-Man is so offended by Deadpool that he just leaves. He's like,
In
screw
all
this,
honesty,
I'm
I
out of
think
here.
Spider-Man
Hey,
would
they
like-
could...
I think Spider-Man would like Deadpool. This version of him, at least.
No,
Yeah.
they can, because they can literally reboot everything, which kind of would suck because that would literally mean all these years of MCU wiped out of existence just so they can bring the X-Men in. But the stories you can do with it, with the Superhero Identification Act, which I was expecting them to do at the end of Spider-Man, and which is what Civil War was technically about too.
Wait,
but then
What do you
they-
mean the superhero identity? I don't know much about this.
okay,
That's from X-Men.
I'm ignorant. on
no,
this.
no, that is the Mutant Identification Act,
Oh.
which is technically part of the Superhero Identification Act, but that's when Tony Stark ends up like making a serum that makes it where mutants can no longer be created or born. But that's
All right. Anyway,
More.
They tried to do that. That was like the basis of one of the X-Men.
Yes.
Was
why
that
didn't
the
they
kid
want
that?
mutants to be created or born anymore?
Because, okay, so the Superhero and Mutant Identification Act
Do you have
in
like
a screwdriver.
a screwdriver or a quarter or something?
Your microphone needs some Viagra, dude.
Yeah, it's a little.
I was wondering
the
why he
microphone's a
kept
little limp.
why he kept pushing your chin into it.
Trying to hold it up.
You don't have anything, do you?
I don't think I have anything down here. Sorry. We're almost at the end. How about that? So
This'll do.
I'll explain that. So what happened is a kid got his powers, didn't fully understand them, went nuclear, wiped out a high school off the face of the planet. Because of that, they ended up making the Mutant Identification Act in conjunction with the Superhero Identification Act, and to help the Superhero Identification Act start up, Spider-Man was right there with Tony to reveal that he was Peter Parker. So he took off his mask and he said, "I am Spider-Man."
Oh, but then that happened at the end of the movie, anyways. Okay.
Well, that was
Wait, which movie was that in?
not a movie, comics.
That
Oh.
part was in the comics, but Peter Parker was revealed in the latest Spider-Man.
Correct. And
which
how
I am okay saying because we told you
spoilers.
Yeah,
Yes.
spoilers.
So how that gets resolved, though, is the Phoenix. Let's see. So Tony ends up making a serum that wipes out the creation of future mutants. Then Cyclops ends up getting all the Phoenixes together and reverses major events, does tons of catastrophe damage, and makes it so the first mutant can be born again. He gets saved a little bit before they're like, "Oh, you were under the Phoenix control, so it wasn't you." He's like, "I would have done it anyways." So he goes off. So Cyclops actually ends up going off to jail. What else? Spider-Man ends up Lady Death falls in love with Spider-Man and says, "If you marry me, I will wipe out the events that of you revealing yourself," because lots of people end up getting hurt and killed because of his reveal.
What is this?
Wait, why? Why
is
would
this
that
from
happen?
canon, or what do you?
This is coming from the comics.
Okay.
Yes,
Why would a lot of people like this?
because he's just a little poor kid, and especially his boss hates him. He doesn't have a job anymore. Obviously, when the news reporter wants to, "Oh, Spider-Man, the root of all evil." What do you mean you're Spider-Man?
Oh.
Nope. But people end up getting hurt. That's why he wanted to keep it secret, because people close to him will get hurt.
Oh, I see.
They do get hurt. So Lady Death ends up bringing, I think, MJ. No, he was married. Wasn't married to. Yeah, he was married to MJ. He ends up because Lady Death ends up reversing things. Is no longer married to MJ. Married to Lady Death. She ends up reversing events, so nobody remembers that he is Spider-Man. So everyone is safe again, and that reverses him being revealed as Spider-Man. Yeah, there's all sorts of. I was kind of curious where they were going to take this.
Fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of wibbly wobbly timey wiminess that happens in the comics, and that's what I'm saying.
So the problem is, if you were to bring that into like the movie universe, like X-Men already made an entire movie about the Cure.
And also MCU already made an entire movie about Civil War,
Yeah.
which is about the
So is
Super-
the Identification Act just like you have to identify if you're a superhero?
because it was
It
safe
was the
for everyone.
registration thing.
Yeah.
Wasn't
And also, if you were a mutant, you had to register too, because we couldn't trust you to not keep your powers in check.
Okay.
it? Well, they also wanted to know who was a human weapon. Like,
Yeah. Because when a kid ends up going nuclear and wiping out an entire school because he suddenly became a mutant.
So I remember for some reason in the cartoons, the Mutant Registration Act, that whole thing.
There may have been the '90s one you're talking about.
Yeah.
The popular X-Men comics.
Yeah.
There may have been.
Before Rogue ever became Phoenix in any
Yeah.
animated or real world.
In the movies.
Yes, in shows or TV shows or movies.
Yeah. Yeah. I know the X-Men, the Ultimate X-Men or whatever it is.
Yeah, that like I remember for some reason the whole Mutant Registration Act thing, and it was also in the movie. In the I think it was the first or second movie, the Mutant Registration Act thing. Like they talk about
I don't know which one.
It was the one. I think it was the one with the cure because it's the mayor. What's his name? Tries to turn the mayor into a mutant and ends up turning into the blob thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the whole Mutant Registration Act fight back by Magneto.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like Civil War-ish. I mean, they're always
but that's the thing is, X-Men were made because of the time period, based on the time period of civil rights movement and all that. So that's why mutants, and that's why all the hate.
Why? What was? I never saw Civil War. What was Civil War about?
The superheroes have caused too much damage.
Yeah.
And the government wants to control them, and those that don't want to be allowed to be identified or controlled are then identified as the bad people of society.
Oh, I see.
Because Captain believes that.
I always wondered why they were fighting. Like I never understood why.
Well, Iron Man believed that. Yeah, I can bring it. I can take anything. I'm Iron Man. Everyone should identify themselves. Captain America was like, no, superheroes should be allowed to keep their secret because they have innocence that they need to protect.
Yeah, wasn't that what's his name? The guy that can shoot really well. Hawkeye. Yeah, like they went back to his home where his wife and kid were and all that in that movie.
Oh, and didn't they? No, they were snapped out of existence. They weren't killed. He agreed to not be a hero anymore.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, that was
because
dark.
I don't want to reveal to them.
What he did was dark.
I don't want to reveal who I am because it puts them in danger.
I thought it was Deadpool when they first revealed him for a moment. There was a moment
where you thought he was Deadpool.
I thought he was Deadpool for just a moment. I didn't think I realized who it was fairly quickly, but for a moment I was like, well, this would be cool if it was Deadpool.
It would, but
and they had the rights to him at the time.
Did they not anymore?
Well, I mean, they had just got the rights to him.
Oh, I see.
I don't know.
When Infinity War first came out, they were either finishing up negotiations or they just finished up negotiations.
Oh, that wasn't Endgame.
Or that's what I meant, Endgame. Sorry, not Infinity War.
They didn't do he didn't go bad until Endgame.
Yeah, that was really cool. But understandable.
It was dark. It was
So,
a good movie. 3 hours long.
We should probably wrap things up.
All right.
Famous last words.
Don't make me start. I can't think of it.
Great news.
All right. I'll go. I'm really kind of concerned on what they'll do with Peter Parker and the Avengers if they can't use him anymore. Because I really liked both of them. That was cool. A lot of famous last words there.
Avengers.
You should just cut him off after, all right, I'll go, and that should be his last words.
You ready? It's going to be Avengers. The Force Awakens.
Not Avengers.
The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens.